Hey, just a quick heads up before the video starts. I'm going to be down in California doing live shows in Los Angeles on October 24th and San Francisco on October 26th. It's called Scott the Woz Presents the Wozies, where you buy tickets to the event, you'll get a Google form in your email, you fill that out, and we'll create an award show based on whatever you submit. Tickets are available at blueborder.com, and you can easily select the show you want to go to there. But also, we're planning a segment for both the Los Angeles and San Francisco live shows, the Roast of Scott the Woz. We'll have everybody read off some of the worst possible things you could possibly say to me. So, even if you're not going and you'd like to submit something that might be said during the live show, just follow the link in the description or via the pinned comment to a Google form where you can submit something. Please make me cry. That's right, today I'm gonna show you where I watch Quigley. Today I just kind of want to talk about something I'm just a little passionate about, something I'm a little proud of. I really like this little retro corner that I finagled into my game room here. Now, if you know anything about me, you probably know I do enjoy fiddling with old crap. And for a while, I've always kind of wanted a designated spot in my game room to just kind of enjoy like an old school kind of experience. You know, I kind of compiled a lot of the stuff from this corner throughout the years, and I finally had the opportunity probably like a year or two ago to really just go all in with it. So this old school CRT TV, I picked this up on Facebook Marketplace in 2021, and the original idea with that was to you know, have an old CRT TV for the opening sequence in Borderline Forever. So I got this old TV, and it was just kind of sitting there for a while. Then when I moved into this house, like I brought it over, and you know, these TVs are just a bitch to move. For a while there, I had a bunch of workbenches all around, primarily because that was around the time that I was starting to train all of the guys to edit for Scott Stash. So many times the guys would come over to my house, and we would all work from there for a day. You know, like I'd see everything that they're doing, and you know, we'd kind of work off of each other there. So I had a bunch of extra workbenches, so I decided to put the CRT on there for a bit, and that was kind of fun. I had like a twin Famicom set up there. That was like this more obscure release of the Famicom only in Japan, I believe by the company Sharp. And I just had that hooked up to this TV for a bit because I thought that was kind of interesting, and you know, you could play old Famicom cartridges, or more interestingly, you could play like the disk system games, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, the CRT for a bit there was kind of just in the basement for testing purposes, which isn't any fun. Eventually I upgraded all of the shelves in my game room to be all these like really tall guys. So I was moving stuff around, upgraded all the shelving, and I found this one corner TV stand piece on Amazon that I thought would work really well for kind of having like a little retro corner, you know, just a little corner of the room that is designated to just old crap. It's designated for old crap. So I went from there, and you know, I got this couch here that's just kind of facing the corner here. This is a really nice couch. You can actually pull it out, and it can become kind of more of like a little bed, or more so kind of like a couch that you can lay on. So that was cool. Overall, the setup was working out pretty well. The one problem with this TV stand corner, though, is the way this room is set up. This wall ends kind of like weirdly. So overall, this TV stand does kind of overlap it in kind of a strange way, but yeah, it's not a huge problem. I think if I would ever change something later down the line, I might like move things around the game room office area I have down here, and I might like, you know, move this retro corner to like another corner of the basement or something. But as it is, I do really like the feeling here, primarily because I've also started using these taller shelves as kind of like fake walls, where I have some shelves set up kind of right next to some of like the support pillars or support beams down here, because overall this basement is pretty much just like one big open space. So I think like having more like subsections of it, where this is kind of more so the retro area, and then in the middle you have more of kind of the modern area with like the main setup and the main TV and the main couch and all of that, and then to the side, that's where I do most of my editing. You know, that's where my computer and stuff is set up. And that did kind of help me figure out, like, oh, what am I gonna put on this shelf? And right now, this shelf right behind the retro TV couch is full of, like, movies, magazines, other, like, old video game stuff, a lot of more obscure stuff that I'm not gonna be, like, touching a lot, that I'm kind of like, I do like this stuff, but it's also like, I have all my Gizmondo games back here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a fake gamer. I don't play the Gizmondo very much. You can go ahead and call me a fraud, because that's true. But I like this wall being, like, a lot of the more obscure stuff, you know, some of the gaming stuff, magazines, and also the movies, primarily because, like, it kind of helps almost feel like, oh, we're transporting back in time over here. Here's a bunch of stuff that's, like, nearly forgotten or a bit obsolete in some ways. But I do have a bunch of movies back here, and I'm not a big, like, movie collector at the moment. I have a lot of Blu-rays because for a bit there I wanted to collect all of the video game movies on Blu-ray and DVD for a Scott the Woz episode I wanted to do. So I have a bunch of stuff like that, and then I just have a bunch of, like, random DVDs from throughout the years. Like, a lot of them are just, like, complete nonsense crap. Like, who the hell cares? Like, I'm looking over here. Well, we have Daddy Day Camp. We have Ernest Goes to Jail. And I'll go back to the first one. We have Daddy Day Camp. Honestly, a lot of those DVDs were kind of bought as, like, a joke, or they were bought for, like, a video or something like that. But a lot of the VHS tapes that I have were actually, like, genuinely bought by me. I liked going on eBay for, like, a little bit there and buying, like, brand new sealed VHS tapes. Some of these VHS tapes, like, I remember as a kid, like, I have a lot of the big box, like, Disney style VHS tapes, and some other, like, you know, the cardboard sleeve stuff. You know, not all of them I had as a kid, but, you know, they do kind of bring me back to that era because, you know, I watch VHS tapes all the time back in the, you know, early 2000s, and on TVs very similar to this. So that was kind of another part of this retro corner, is kind of rediscovering how fun it is to watch and experience things on an old school TV like this. I ended up plugging in this VCR DVD combo player that I've had for years there. Like, this player has been, like, in videos of mine for years and stuff. I've had this for a while, probably since, like, I'd say, like, 2006 or 7 or maybe 8. I don't even know. Name any year. That could have been it. But it's always been reliable. You know, all you need to do is plug it in. Then you just have to take a standard yellow-white video audio cable, plug that in the back, plug that into your TV. It works like a charm. It's worked ever since. And I actually bought a second one because I wanted the remote for it, and I didn't know where the remote went. So I bought a second one I found on eBay, the exact same model, so then I could get the remote. So now I have 2 of them, and the other one is now at our Blue Border Entertainment office at our filming setup there, because I was looking for a CRT at some point. Dominic found one after I already got a CRT, so I was like, thank you, but I'm good now. So we have a CRT at the office and a VCR plugged in there that doesn't get any use, but it does work, and maybe someday it'll get used. But I ended up wanting to watch, like, some old VHS movies on this TV, and doing so, it's such, like, a fun little quirky experience, and honestly, I didn't find the picture quality to be that bad. Like, it looks good for what it is, and there's just something so charming about doing it. I'm not gonna act like, oh yeah, I love doing this all the time or anything. Like, no, I probably will try watching a VHS movie once a year. But when I do, it's kind of like a fun little way to switch things up, a little blast from the past kind of thing. Especially you get, like, the commercials beforehand, and, you know, you have just that experience of putting the tape in, and it's a much more deliberate experience, and that's what's kind of fun about going back to, like, a retro setup like this. It's a very deliberate experience that's not hard to get these days, but since we have so much freedom with what we're able to watch whenever, however we want, everything's just at our fingertips at a moment's notice. Like, I could just say, F it right now, I could just whip out my phone and watch literally any movie I could possibly want. You know, I never want to act like that's not incredible. But it is kind of fun to take a step back and do something a little more deliberate. Pull a movie off the shelf and be like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking watch Flubber. This is not the definitive way to watch content, really, at all, but it's such a charming way, and I think it almost helps you kind of appreciate what we have these days more. Not even necessarily because, oh, what we have today is like, oh, this is crap. No, it's not. It's honestly, like, a lot better than you may think it is. Like, watching content on an old CRT like this through the yellow and white cables, you may think, oh, wow, it's gonna be absolutely awful. It's not really. It's honestly, like, a lot clearer than I was really expecting it to ever be. My thing is, it kind of helps you appreciate just a lot of things. Having more deliberation in what you're doing, even if it's something stupid like watching a movie on VHS tape just because you're feeling a little quirky that evening, helps you just kind of slow down a little bit and be like, you know what? Let's just enjoy life for a second. So I got the old VCR and DVD set up on this thing, but of course I kind of wanted to think, like, what game consoles do I want plugged in to this TV at a moment's notice? And you know, ever since I was very young, I've followed retro gaming content online. I know what a lot of people will tell you is like, oh, this is the way you need to set up your game consoles. This is the way you need to experience all this stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you right now, the way I have these consoles set up is not the most ideal setup, so I'm sorry about that. But for me personally, I think a big part of why a retro setup is so fun is the imperfections of it all. All of these game consoles are pretty much set up through composite cables, the yellow-white cables, and a lot of people will think that that is fucking atrocious. From my perspective, composite cables still look really good on a CRT TV. It's when you try to play game consoles with composite cables on anything but a TV like this, if you try to do it on like an HD TV, a 4K TV, yeah, that's when it looks like fucking ass. I know there's so many better solutions to getting the best quality picture out of your old school game consoles, even especially on a CRT TV. Something like using S-Video, SCART, and I definitely respect the hell out of that. But for me personally, this whole setup, I'm not trying to get the best quality thing possible. I don't care that much. Like, if I really want the best quality image possible out of retro video games, I'll probably just emulate the stuff. But, you know, for the people that really want the best quality image possible out of their game consoles, I think many of them want to do it because this is like, this is a passion for them. This is something where, hey, I want to get the best quality possible from official hardware on an old school TV. I want that old school experience, but I want the best quality version of it. And for that, I think that's really commendable. I think that's awesome. I'm not willing to go through all that crap, though. That's a lot of crap. For me personally, a lot of the charm of playing on an old TV like this are a lot of the imperfections. Is the fact that you're not getting the crispest, most high-quality image possible. So that's why I'm okay with using, you know, shittier video quality for these. It's also just easier. But I picked certain game consoles very deliberately for this unit because I had to consider a couple of different things. One, which game consoles would I want to play on this old TV? You know, not only from, like, what game consoles do I like the most, what game consoles have the games I want to play, but also, like, which game consoles am I the most nostalgic over. But also, one of the biggest factors as to which game consoles would get plugged into this TV is which game consoles would fit in the TV stand. So you got 3 units on this stand, and 2 of them are like these cabinets on the sides that are fairly narrow, and they're also at an angle, so not everything is going to fit 100%. You do have this section below the TV with a lot more space, but, you know, that space is definitely reserved for the, you know, the DVD players and whatnot. So some limited space there. I kind of had to pick, like, okay, I can pick some wider consoles, but I have to make my choices very deliberate, and I only have a limited amount of space for said wider consoles. And then you have some space on the sides of the TV. So this is what I picked. On the right side, we have a Super Nintendo, and then we have an NES top loader. So I don't have many memories of the NES top loader other than seeing retro video game reviews on YouTube back in like 2008 and seeing an NES top loader being used. And I think I was confused and I thought it was like a Super Nintendo or something, because I had never seen an NES top loader before. But yeah, I mean, the NES top loader is there primarily because it'll fit. It's a much smaller NES. I definitely, obviously, have much more memories with like the standard NES console, but you know, that console is always just a nightmare to use. Like it is annoying to use. It fails a lot. It doesn't work as well. The top loader works pretty damn well. It has a much better success rate. Like plugging in any cartridge to a top loader, it's fairly likely to work. The one problem is, of course, like the video quality of the top loader. It does not have any AV out. It only comes with a damn RC output, coaxial nonsense. What the f ever. It's disgusting. Something I've wanted to do for a while is actually get an NES top loader modded for AV out. That was something that I wanted to do all the way back in like, I don't know, like 2016, 2017. Never did that, and it's honestly kind of like low on my priorities list. But honestly, again, like part of the charm here is the imperfections of this setup. The fact that I have to change the channel on the TV to like channel 3 to play NES games. It's honestly kind of part of, again, the charm. I feel stupid for constantly using that word. Charm almost feels like an excuse for just experiencing just dog shit. I'm just like, yeah, I'll have an awful time. And the excuse is, I want to do it for the charm. But, you know, I look back at playing the NES at my grandma's house. I always had to change the channel to channel 3. It wasn't hooked up with composite cables, so, you know, it's kind of part of the fun here. In the middle, we have the VCR DVD player that I had, but I also have a very obscure DVD player right underneath, and that is a Nuon DVD player. So I got this a couple of years ago, and I was finally able to talk about this console in the Movies for Game Consoles episode of Scott the Woz, because this is like one of the most obscure game consoles out there. Pretty much what it was like, hey, like this is a DVD player they're selling, but it also has some game console functionality baked into it. So pretty much the best way to describe it would be like the PS2 is a game console with a DVD player built in. This DVD player that has Nuon functionality, any DVD player with Nuon functionality is a DVD player with a game console built in. And like there's like no games worth a damn on it. I mean, like kinda. There's like a Tempest 3000. You have like Space Invaders XL on it, which is just Space Invaders. I have this plugged in primarily because where the f else would it go? I'm not gonna use the Nuon much, but it's such an obscure, stupid game console kind of thing. I'm just kind of thinking like, this makes sense here. And honestly, as a DVD player, it has some kind of neat, cute features. Like it's almost like a very premium DVD player with a lot of weird functionality built into it. So I don't use it really ever, but I have it plugged in there just because like, where else would it go? Other than just storage. And I'm like, I have space for it. I don't know what the hell else I would put there. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Put the Nuon there, because that's kind of fun. Now, above all of those is the switch box that I have for all of the composite systems that I have plugged into this. So pretty much what this is just like a little button switcher where, you know, I can turn on my game system. I just switch over to the right input and there it is. It just appears on the TV. What's amazing about these composite switchers is that they don't require any power. HDMI switchers require power, and it's kind of annoying. Below that, we have an N64, a jungle green N64, and I believe I picked this one up at Too Many Games 2022. They wanted us to do a second panel at that convention, and what we decided to do was like a live Mario Party playthrough, kind of like the Mario Party episodes of Scott the Woz. But I just decided, like, when we got there, I didn't want to travel on a plane with an N64 and a copy of Mario Party 3 and multiple controllers. I just kind of thought to myself, I'll just buy it at the convention. Of course, that means that gets kind of expensive, but it also meant I now had an extra N64, and kind of a cool one at that. The jungle green one, everything is pretty good with it, except for the N64 logo on the front is a little cracked, but you know, it's all good. It's a cool console, and you know, I got it from a cool event, so everything's all good there. Next to that, I have an Atari 7800. And unlike my NES top loader, this one was modded for AV out. So yeah, this Atari console just has, you know, the standard composite cables.
That is a mod. It didn't initially come with those. And I picked the 7800 because the 7800 is backwards compatible with Atari 2600 games. So I can play a bunch of different Atari games on this console. And, you know, Atari, you can clown on Atari. Like, you know, like how much am I really playing Atari these days? But, you know, again, like if I'm playing video games at this TV, I think Atari games can be kind of charming and just kind of fun to go back to here and there. Just go through a big stack of them and just let's have a little Atari afternoon. That sounds awful. But no, I have a lot of memories of these games as a kid, especially considering like looking back to like you know, the plug and play Atari joystick that I had with a couple of Atari games on it. That, you know, I like going back to Atari stuff every now and then. Then on the left side of the cabinet we have a GameCube. You know, GameCube was one of my first major childhood consoles, in addition to my other first major childhood console, a Sega Genesis Model 2. So, you know, those, in my opinion, make the most sense to be here. You know, like I remember playing a GameCube on a TV like this. I remember playing my Genesis on a TV like this. It all adds up to me. But then we have these systems on top of the unit, right next to the TV. I have my childhood Wii set up here. I know it's my childhood Wii because the top flap, I remember accidentally like ripping off at one point. So I used like some kind of like as seen on TV adhesive, like some kind of like weird thing that we had at the house at the time to try and like whatever like glue the flap back together. So my childhood Wii has like this weird like white caulk kind of staining or something on the top of it. That's how I know that's my Wii right there. Of course, I think there's like something to be said of like, well, why do I have a GameCube set up here if you know, the Wii is set up there and I could play GameCube games on the Wii? And again, it's about nostalgia, and it's also about just like ease of use. It's way easier and quicker to just turn on the GameCube and just play there, rather than, you know, turn on the Wii, and then I'm gonna have to sync a Wii remote to that Wii because I don't know which of my Wii remotes are synced to that Wii. So sync a Wii remote, then select the disc channel, and then, you know, the GameCube game pops up, and then hit start, and then go over to the GameCube controllers, and it's just like, it's not that big of a deal, but I kind of want to use my Wii to play Wii games, and I want to use my GameCube to play GameCube games, because that's also how I primarily did things as a kid. Now, right next to the Wii is the PlayStation 2. Now, the PlayStation 2, I don't have nearly as much, like, specific nostalgia for. I have nostalgia for the PS2 100%, but, you know, I didn't have a PS2 as a kid, other than this one time when I bought one at a garage sale for dirt cheap, and it worked for, like, a month, and then it started to just out. But yeah, the PS2, I didn't own that really as a kid much. However, two important things. The PS2 was one of the greatest game consoles of all time, and being able to play PS1 games and PS2 games on it is a big thing. I had a PS1 as a kid, so like, okay, that's covered on here. But two, here's the biggest thing. I had the PlayStation 2 stand just on me at the time, and the PS2 stand, I don't know anybody who genuinely owned a PS2 stand. Whenever you see like a promotional image or an official image of the PS2, it always has that damn blue stand. Nobody fucking used that thing. But I had one off of eBay, and I was like, wait a second, I can use the stand and have an old fat PS2 in my retro corner, and everything will work out. So the PS2 is primarily there because it fits. But last but not least, on the other side of the retro TV, I have my Vectrex setup. And the Vectrex is genuinely one of the coolest retro consoles ever. The Vectrex is genuinely one of my favorite ways to kind of experience pre-NES games. Because it is so unique and it's so instantaneous. It's primarily just here as more so a showpiece, and also it just makes sense to be here because not only does it fit, but it's also like this is the retro setup. And the Vectrex is kind of like an all-in-one monitor game system where it uses vector graphics. And vector graphics are so unique because they are unlike a lot of other visuals you will really ever see. Everything is genuinely so smooth and it all like pops so well. It is so cool to just jump into a game on Vectrex. It has a built-in game called Mindstorm. and it's pretty much just asteroids. So just, you know, you just turn on the Vectrex, and it's one of the coolest things to immediately show anybody that's around. If you want to show them kind of like a video game thing they've probably never seen or heard of before, you know, like, it's just cool. I love the Vectrex. I don't play it all the time, but it just makes sense for it to be here. And it's really cool to show people, and I think it is something where if I want to play a very simple video game from the early 80s, the Vectrex is a very easy way to do that, and pretty much all the games are simple, fun. It's just like a basic little play that for like a couple of minutes, and it's just like, there you go, that's cool. And just the fact that you can immediately turn it on, turn it off, you know, it just makes it kind of perfect for that, because, yeah, let's be honest, like, you're not going to play an Atari game for more than, like, 5 minutes sometimes. Maybe in some cases, you know, if it's a really, if you're really getting into it, but it's also, like, for the most part, it's kind of just fun to, like, whatever, taste test some of these games and be like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool, that's kind of fun. And what I have playing on the TV right now is a GameCube demo disc, and it's just shuffling through a bunch of old trailers right now. Now, I usually see whenever people do videos like this, they have their TVs on playing like stuff like this, like a demo for a video game or something. As cool as that looks, I never do this in real life. This is just for the video to give you something fun to look on in the background. So, you're welcome. Well, gang, that is my little retro corner. For anybody wanting to do something like this themselves, I think a big element is an old-ass TV. And I would recommend the best way to find an old-ass TV is Facebook Marketplace. Never on eBay. These things weigh like 400 pounds, and you're gonna pay like $20,000 in shipping to get an old CRT shipped over to you. There's probably a billion CRT TVs in your neighborhood already, and every single person that has one wants to just get rid of them. They don't want it anymore. You'll pay probably like $10, $20 for an old CRT TV. And, you know, I think an old TV like this is really fun because even just like turning one on, you get kind of that fun sound, you get that static sound, and then you see it slowly fade into existence, and, you know, it's just a fun experience, and that's what this is for me. To me, this retro corner, it's just fun. And I like it, and I like using it from time to time. You know, I love a lot of old stuff like this, but, you know, I don't want it to be like, oh, this is all I'm ever doing, because I like to, I kind of want to look forward to the future, even though the future always looks bleak as fuck, but you know what? I don't want to be miserable. But to be able to do that properly, you got to be able to look back at the past and appreciate a lot about that. Look back at the past, learn from it, see what you love about it, and just kind of apply that to how you do things now, how you want to do things in the future. This is getting deep. I just wanted to talk about how I watch fucking Quigley.